So starting off with just talking about metrics in general, I kind of look at metrics as like a data point on your business, so like a snapshot of what's going on in the business. Um, you use metrics really to help you make informed decisions about what to do. I recently had a conversation with a construction entrepreneur, and he had struggled to catch something in his business. And when talking about it, I asked him, what metrics were you using or are you using to measure the performance on the business? And to be honest, when I asked him that, it felt like it just sort of went over his head. And I ended up going into quite a lot of depth about the concept of using metrics and types of metrics to measure performance in the business. So I thought actually, because I did the hard work in kind of explaining it to him there, I took a bit of time to just sort of write down what I explained. And I thought I would make this into a short video. And specifically, I want to kind of hone in on the idea of using lag and lead metrics in your business in order to track performance and pick up things and make changes and adjust them. So starting off with just talking about metrics in general, I kind of look at metrics as like a data point on your business, so like a snapshot of what's going on in the business. You use metrics really to help you make informed decisions about what to do or how certain things are going in your business. So, often we're not just using metrics to make decisions. There's a bit of kind of intuition, there's conversations with internal, external people, maybe market conditions as well. But metrics are a really useful thing, I think, to have in order for you to make decisions that are not purely based on emotion. And sometimes if you are maybe too emotional about something or not sure or 50-50 on the fence, it's good to be able to look at a measure and see, does this support your decision or does this go the opposite way and maybe you need to move in a different direction. So that's kind of in a nutshell what I mean when I talk about a metric. And I would like to kind of split the metrics definition up into a lag metric and a lead metric. So starting off with a lag metric, you want to look at a lag metric as a measure of the outcome of you doing something from actions in the past, let's say. So the outcome of past actions, that's a better way to say it. So this is a data point that's telling you what happened as a result of you doing some actions maybe a week ago, a month ago, 3 months ago, particularly in construction where there's long lead-in times. Projects can be over a year long, and then you've got pre-construction and all of that actually it can really take some time for you to actually see the outcome of certain deals you've done or certain actions that you've taken. So as I said, a lag metric is a measure of the outcome of your past actions in your business. Now, from a construction point of view or construction business point of view, some examples of lag metrics could be your profit. It could be maybe even your total revenue that you've got in the business. Another side of the business is it could be looking at, from a health and safety point of view, the number of accidents that you had or near misses that you had on your projects. So you can see that if you think about those three things, you can't really impact those numbers, within the day or the next day or something. Your profit is based on the actions that you took, weeks and months and maybe even years ago. And similarly with accidents and stuff like that. The benefit of using lag metrics is it really gives you kind of a health snapshot of your current business. It allows you to and helps you make strategic decisions of where to go, and gives you like an overall picture of how successful or unsuccessful your decision making is at the time, and whether you should kind of carry on going in a certain direction or whether you need to sort of steer the ship in a different way. So the opposite of that is a lead metric. So you're using a lead metric basically to predict the future or try to help you predict how the future outcome or performance is going to be. So to use the same sort of examples with, where profit might be your lag outcome, your lag metric, a lead metric relating to that would be the number of inquiries, for example, that you've got into your business. So the higher the number of inquiries you would think, the higher the profit would be in the future, kind of thing. So that's where you can see that if your lead metric of number of inquiries is low, then that gives you an indication that in the future your profit is potentially going to be hit, or whatever other metric that you're looking at from a lag point of view. So similarly, if you look at the health and safety example, you can look at things like the amount of hours you've done on training, or the amount of people you've got under CSCS, or the number of black hats that you've got on your project, or something like that. So you can think that making those changes now are not going to immediately tomorrow make an impact on the number of accidents that you have on site, but you can imagine that the more you invest into training, the more you invest into kind of having senior supervisors on your jobs, then in the future the likelihood is that there's less chance of having an accident. So to recap, you've got your lead metric, which is basically the stuff you're doing now that's giving you a kind of a picture of what's potentially going to happen in the future, and the lag metric is basically a snapshot of where you are now based on the actions that you took in the past. So you can see that they really do link together. And I also actually think that it's worth considering a metric doesn't have to sit in either a lead or a lag metric. You can actually have a single metric that can be both. So for example, if we look at the number of inquiries into your business, in the earlier part of this video, I said the number of inquiries would be looked at as a lead metric, and that's a lead metric when you're looking from a profit perspective. So from a profit perspective, the number of inquiries leads to you getting more profit, if that number was higher. But if you're looking at the same thing from a marketing perspective, your number of inquiries actually could become the lag metric, and the lag metric the lead metric linking to that could be the amount of social media posts you do, or something like that. So you can see that it's a little bit of a chain. The more social media posts you do, the more inquiries you get, and then the more profit you get. So it really depends on which angle that you're looking at it from. That gives you the definition of whether a metric sits under the kind of lag camp or the lead camp. Lastly, actually, I would mention in terms of, because I think it's easy when you listen and you start getting into the idea of using metrics to measure the performance in your business, is that you start tracking everything. From my perspective, I actually find that it's better to have less things being tracked kind of immediately or in your immediate view. You can always, if you need to go back and find data, you can always get it, providing that you've got some good way of recording data, like a CRM or something like that. But essentially, I really like to have either one or two lead and lag metrics that you're looking at on a regular basis. So let's say weekly or fortnightly. So that really gives you kind of a health check on your business. And probably the most common one in the construction business is what is your profit, and what is your number of inquiries. Okay, so I typically like to look at it in that way. And then if you are seeing that either your lag metric or your lead metric is off in terms of lower than what you think it should be, or something is dropping or something like that, then what I would suggest is you go down to a secondary tier of lead and lag metrics. So then in that secondary tier, you could, for example, have a lead and lag metric for marketing, a lead and lag metric for pre-construction, a lead and lag metric for safety, lead and lag metric for customer service and customer satisfaction. So that way, you're not getting bogged down with lots and lots of different metrics every time you look at it. But if you see your numbers are off, you can look at the secondary tier, and then again, if you're seeing that a particular area, let's say customer satisfaction is low, imagine that your lag metric is the number of Google reviews that you've got, and you're seeing that you're starting to get some 3 and 4 star reviews. something might be off. And then you might even choose to have like a third tier of lead and lag metrics to then go even deeper and deeper. But as I said, typically as long as you're tracking that data, you can get that metric if you actually need to, and you can always kind of backlog it as well. So my main suggestion is start with initially having at least one metric, lead and lag. That gives you a bit of a health check on your business. Ideally have a secondary tier, and you probably want to check, let's say, the first tier every week and the second tier maybe every month or something like that, and you should be good. So if that does sound interesting, and I'll just plug our business here. If it sounds interesting to you, the idea of having metrics and being able to measure the kind of health of your business at any one time, but you don't have the time to do it, or I don't know, if you're just a bit lazy and it's just not really your bag to do that kind of stuff, and if you've got a bit of money to actually throw at somebody else to do that task, then feel free to basically throw that money at us. Go to dynamicassist.co. We can help you build these dashboards, give you a bit of consulting to work out what the best ways to measure these things are, and ultimately help you succeed with your business. Thanks a lot. Bye.